Hello friend, welcome back to Diesel Mercedes YouTube channel. And I have back here that 1987 300D Turbo, which you know from different videos, and this time the owner came for preventative service, or let's say maintenance. He knows, like many of you, that when your key in the ignition lock, right, when you are going to start your engine and turn the ignition lock, when your key is becoming kind of hard to turn, there is a time to replace as soon as possible that ignition lock tumbler. And the reason for that is that it's way easier to replace or put in brand new part when the key is still working. The part itself, this tumbler, that whole unit with two keys, it's from Mile. I believe he got it from Pelican Parts, and it costs like 20 bucks. That's really cheap. And that's easier than one day the key will get stuck in this ignition, hopefully when you are at home and not somewhere when you are shopping or something, right? One day it will break and it will cause you a lot of trouble. Not only you will get stuck somewhere, but also to get it all out, fighting with that anti-theft system and drilling it out, that takes a lot of work. So that's why I said maybe this is preventative, even maintenance, right? Not even a service. When you know that this thing is going out, it's a really great idea to replace it ASAP. Let me try to demonstrate to you how you remove these units. I will use as an example this new one. So when you enter the vehicle, right, this is the position where you enter the key. So you put it in and you turn it all the way to the position number 1. It's the AC position. That means your radio gets power, not just the glow plugs, that's later, but it's the radio position, let's say. And that's because you're trying to align these openings, right, this way to be able to push this element which is holding it in, to push it down. The one on the bottom doesn't have any spring, you can see it here, but the one on the top has this spring, and that spring is holding it inside. Because you align these grooves, you are allowed to enter next to the key, as you see it, this 1.5 millimeter wire, which has a tapered end. I don't know if you can see it, probably not, but it was shaved this way. So it's full length on the top, on the bottom it's slightly missing. And the reason for it, and now it's coming, right, is to nicely go inside and not get underneath that spring. That will be a mistake. You don't want to do that. It's tapered the other way. So you get above it, and when that tool is there, it's pushing on that spring. You see the spring, it's nicely matching the surface instead of before it wasn't. And that allows you to push that spring down and pull that entire tumbler out of the place. I will give you another reason why it's better do it sooner than later. I did these procedures in past. I explained the owner what do you do, and he tried by himself. And he said, sorry, I can't get it. I will give it to you. You will get a job. And he was completely right. Anytime, right, this is the old key. It was very finicky. Sometimes you couldn't turn it. So anytime I put it in that position, I was able to get that tapered wired there, but the spring was also kind of worn and didn't allow me to pull that entire assembly, right? This is on top of it, and then on the W124 generation, you pull it out, right? What I'm trying to show here, this whole thing will go out. Many of you know 124 generation changed it. In 123, this, when you get the wire in, you was unscrewing this off, this cover, that came off, and after that you was pulling the tumbler out. So on the 124 it changed. And this one really unfortunately gave a lot of trouble. I couldn't get it out. I knew exactly what I'm doing, right? I had it aligned, but again and again and again I was failing to engage this properly and basically squeeze it down all the way. I had to change different diameters of the wire, right? I was bringing another wire on the bottom. I made the bended wire which was coming from top and bottom, and it still didn't want to give up. Well, in these cases you have two choices. You really will remove the bottom of the dashboard and start drilling it out, or you are just gentle with it, right? Keep trying, keep engage this spring. Try again, pull, right? Pull on it carefully. Give it another wiggle, right? All that shaking and so on at the end worked out, and I was able to remove it. So that was theory right here on the bench. Let's go in the vehicle. I will install the new one in the case it doesn't want to go out, but it will. I will install the new one in, and I will show you how to remove it inside of the car. But before I will put it back in, let me show you the opening, right? It's right here. Hopefully you can see it. And there is a groove on the top, which you cannot see, right? And that's where it holds. That little spring where it holds. So you can see I'm in that radio position. The instruments are still off, but the radio is on. And I will install it back. Here's the tumbler itself. The key is just wonderfully turning everything, right? This was impossible to do before. It just took always 5 seconds, just wiggle it in, right? That was the problem. There's not much space here, but I will try to show it to you. So you put the key there, right? And you turn it in that position when the radio goes on. That's right here. Now, with that groove towards to the bottom, right, that wire, I'm inserting it in that top groove, you see there, and carefully feeling it. I want to squeeze down that spring. Right now, if I'm lucky, it will go out nicely. And here you go. It's perfect. As I said, because the old tumbler was worn, it unfortunately resisted for approximately 2 hours before it finally, by some little miracle, gave up and I was able to pull it out. And to install it, you have to pay attention that all these parts are correctly in its place, right? You're putting it exactly in the same spot as it was. When you carefully press it in, right, you are still checking the correct function. The radio is off. Now it should be back on. It makes no noises. Yes, that's correct. Can even try. Oh yeah, this is the last position, right? Everything is fine. Again, and it's installed. To install this cover, pay attention to this groove. It has a matching spot on the other side inside. So I slightly put it on, watching that groove. This is correct space. Again, I will put it in that ACC radio position, right? Boom. This is it. and I will be able to install and pop in that cover. It's nicely there. Hopefully I can move it nicely again, right? And now look, it's locked there. It doesn't want to go off. We'll be making that noise like before when I couldn't remove it. It's all perfectly back. In this case, to finish the job is just put back that trim, right, which was around it. But it's a very easy. I just pop in and I'm definitely done. This was successful. Took longer because the part was on the way out, right? But you can see this is perfectly working new tumbler. And I will say it was typical example from automotive repair that even simple things sometimes don't go easy. But we made it happen, right? Thank you for watching this video and make sure you are subscribed because I will have way more for you in the future. See ya!